Okay, Assalamualaikum and good morning to Doctor. My name is Muhammad Aiman Najmi bin Azlan. Okay, so for my part is I do the IR sensor. Okay, as we know, IR sensor is as the input in this programming. Okay, so the first step is the IR sensor function. Okay, we set the pull up at the port D. Okay, for the port D2 we set as 1. Okay, and then JSCR we are enable it as interrupt 0. Okay, for the external interrupt we enable it put the we put 1. Okay, we set that. Okay, and then for the MCUCR, okay, we use it as to configure interrupt 0 to detect any logical change. Okay, so for this coding for ISCO00 we set as 1 and ISC01 as 0. Okay, and the last coding is the important that we need to put the say, okay, as enable global interrupt. Okay, and then after the IR sensor function we jump into the interrupt handler or interrupt service routine. Okay, in this interrupt we toggle each time interrupt, okay, for the detector, and then after the interrupt is running we calling LCD display function. Okay, that's all for me. Thank you.
My name is Muhammad Hafiz bin Kamal Zaman, and I am going to briefly explain about the LCD display coding. So there are quite a few LCD display functions, and the first one is the LCD display function. It will detect the detector value. So if the detector value is equal to 0, it will go to display initialization function. On the display initialization function, it is to set as a setting for the LCD display, whether it to clear the LCD display or to force cursor to first line instead to 8-bit and so on. So next is to display the string. So we're going to input any text that we want to show. For this is the detected, and it will go to the display string function. For the display string function, there is a loop. It is going to check whether the character is invalid, and it is going to stop. So then if the character is valid, we will go to the display data function, which is going to set the register select to 1, read write to 0, and enable to 1. And after that, for the display command function is to force cursor to second line, which will going to make the text on the second line of the LCD display. Then it will goes to servo motor function to run the servo motor. So that's all for me.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Amir Haziq bin Zulhamli. So I will present for the servo part motor. So as you can see here is the coding for the servo motor, and here I just made the another function for servo motor because I think the servo motor is not quite complicated. So for the servo motor, we use port C as an output for servo motor. So here we input the value 01 to make the servo motor rotate and 0 to make the servo motor stop. As you can see, servo motor will rotate according to the delay that we put here. So if you want to rotate it to 180 degree, and we input 2000 microsecond here, so the servo motor will rotate 200 microsecond. So it just rotate according to the delay. And then this the motor will stop for a while for 600 milliseconds, and then it will start moving again to 0 degree according to the delay also. So it will turn back. So after that, it will stop for a while, and then we continue to another to another coding. So as you can see here is the some nodes. So the semua motor is basically will turn according to the delay. So here is the more specific example. So when 1 millisecond, it will turn to 0 degree, and then 5 minutes, just so on. So here is the simulation for the for my part. So when the obstacle detected by our sensor, where the LCD will display detected and the motor will turn 180 and then to 0 back. So when it does not detect anything, and then it does not turn because our sensor does not detect any obstacle. So I think this is because, and also as another information, we have set the DDRC here for the IR part. So when the DDRC is set to 1, the port C will become 1 and then motor will rotate. And same as for port C will detect will insert value 0 and it will become 0, and then the motor will stop. So I think I have explained everything about my part. So that's all from me. Thank you.